Pugs, Atomz of Inglewood, Chicago, and I do everything. I do video, I make music, direct videos for people, a lot of creative design work, a lot of art direction work, do mosaics, and a lot of stuff.
What was the biggest lesson you learned about yourself?
That you just have to take everything to your advantage. You know, even when you're in a disadvantaged moment, figure out how to make that work for you.
How was your support system when you started?
In painting, super strong, because like my mom was a painter, and you know my dad was on board for that to be what I was going to be. Rapping was a little harder just because rap wasn't a thing yet, you know, so trying to explain that to people, you know, was an awkward thing. And for me, like I think I was in maybe 5th grade, and people gave that to me. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna be like a rapper," and like I really had no idea what exactly that was, you know, just because my identifying with it was like some dudes in some leather pants and some, you know, trippy wear rapping. You know, it hadn't, you know, De La Soul and EPMD, like those kind of groups hadn't came out yet, so it was like really no reference point besides like some words that rhyme and, you know, being from, I guess, the hood or something. Yeah.
What's the biggest hurdle you got over when you began?
I say the biggest obstacle is just realizing that you could put it out yourself. I think that was the one. Just when I started in the 90s, it was all about you sign to this major label or you get some single deal and they put out this vinyl and voila, everybody knows you, you know.
What are the sacrifices you had to make?
I mean, you know, a lot of times that was my time. Like I played no sports. All I did was either paint or made music or, you know, something within that realm of creativity. And, you know, outside of that, it's just, you know, your friends. You know, you kind of have to have friends that are into what you're doing or doing the same thing that you're doing. So you could stay, you know, centered in that and keep pushing for that. You know, you got to have people that you could compare notes with. So, you know, oftentimes that would be difficult, you know, if you're like further along than your peers or you're just not in a place where a lot of those people exist.
What inspires you to keep going?
Everyone really, you know. My inspiration is, I would say this is like a great example of it. Me and my friend K-Max, we've been doing like a radio show here in Chicago for about 20 years. The only reason we even do the show is one, you could play curse words, so that's like, oh my gosh, with rap, that's crazy. But it's on the actual radio. But two, all of the artists we get to discover by doing the show is like the wow, you know, like I can't believe it, or, you know, giving people their first interviews. So, I mean, I'm talking everybody from a Kali Uchis to a Waka Flocka, and being that person to be like, yeah, I believe in this thing you're doing, keep doing it. And, you know, we'll help you get through this interview to make it, you know, your best. So for me, it's always that of finding something that wasn't there or something that's budding and trying to make it into a thing.
What a part of the process you had to learn to love?
I guess probably the finished part of it is probably the part I still struggle with that, you know, in the sense of being like, oh wow, look at this thing I did. I'm usually trying to do the next thing. Yeah.
What has consistency taught you?
Your consistency just keeps you paid, you know, like if people know you're the go-to, you become the go-to, and then everything refers to you, and your network, you know, creates your job opportunity.
What has been important to your art?
The main focus of my art is really telling my story, my family story, my friend's story, my city story, and, you know, my artists that I'm in cahoots with, you know, their narratives as well, helping them to figure out, you know, how they're going to frame it.
What does success mean to you?
I'm living it! I mean, I would say probably my first, like, real goal of success was just, you know, to just have rap pay for everything. That was probably my first goal of success. With art, I was able to achieve that earlier, but I didn't really look at art in that way. But with rap, it was definitely that, where that just paid for everything, don't have to do anything else but rap. Yeah.
What is your advice?
My advice is simple. I always just tell people, what do you actually want to see happen? And just focus on the parts that you want to see happen instead of all these other things. Often times we're in things and we know that's not really our vision, but we did it. But to really be like, these are the things I want to see happen in this thing that I'm doing with you. And then everybody's kind of on the same page of expectation of what happens next. Or if nothing happens next, that's fine too. But just really setting, the boundaries of what people are looking for and what you're looking for.
Is there any fear you had to overcome?
Being a solo artist, that'd probably be the only one. Because for me, the majority of my music making has a bunch of people involved in it. And I really saw it more from the group thing, because at the time of me starting, that's what people did. You had groups. Yeah.
Chicago has heavily influenced your art, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. This is my reference point. This is the start. I went to Art Institute of Chicago for painting. I studied with Carolyn Lawrence of the Afri-Cobra movement in high school. Super Chicago OG. Kerry James Marshall was a friend of the fam, so I got to, chop it up with him when I was in college to figure out, what are you doing? And, I really think, you really can only build from your experience, and my experience is Chicago for the, majority of my life.